ramble time. This is a bit of a follow-up video to the review of Hyper Body Modernia, as well as whether you should consider getting Hyper Body Red Hood. Some of you may have already made your decision, but I appreciate you clicking in anyway, and there may be some extra points for you to consider. I'll be addressing some concerns, comments and things from the review, which if you haven't already seen, please go check it out. By the way, I do appreciate you guys dropping your messages and thoughts about the figures and things in the comments. I always do enjoy reading through and replying to them. So, for Modernia, there are some quality control issues which may be of a concern, and that is understandable. Some may think she's not worth it due to the quality control and price, and others may think she's fine. I hope I wasn't too harsh during the review and would like to clarify that I do like the figure, she's great, even considering the price and quality control issues. I don't want to deter anyone from picking her up too much, and that same goes for Red Hood as well. If you do get Modernia, or already have her, avoid pulling her head off unless you really need to, and just be very careful when you move her around, as well as her weapons of course. I know a lot of people are going to opt for Snail Shell's Modernia over the Hyper Body, which if you decide to do so, then that's fine, but if you do want her armored up afterwards, it may be difficult to grab a Hyper Body for a good price to head swap. But of course it could also go the other way and she just tanks in value. It's kinda hard to say, right? Keep in mind, although they are the same character, they are very, very different figures. Regarding the fragile neck, she probably wasn't designed to have her head pulled off so often. If you just pose her normally, even if you move her around a bit, she should be fine. In saying that, the instructions didn't really specifically say not to remove the head or the neck. If it said do not remove the head, then sure, it's my fault for pulling it off. The only thing which kind of hints at it in the instructions would be applying force in unintended directions may damage the product. But what does that even mean? A little bit generic? I mean, if there's a joint, I should be able to detach it, right? And even if we consider that the head isn't meant to be pulled off, it still doesn't really excuse the use of such small and fragile joints on an articulated figure. Especially on the neck joint, which is such, I guess, a vital part of the figure, and also on the gun, which has many articulated points. Some may argue that you shouldn't play with or move your figures too much, but then, why are you buying an articulated figure in the first place, right? For being such a large and I suppose, or hopefully, experienced company, they should kind of know that different people will handle their figures differently. Some will hardly move them, others will move them every day and even pull them apart to kit bash and stuff like that. This should be something that they consider, especially when they add so many articulation points, right? Sure, it's Good Smile Arts Shanghai and not actually Good Smile or Max Factory, but the point still stands. Otherwise, you could also argue that it's only their third figure in the Hyper Body line and they need more time to fine-tune and work things out, etc. While I guess that is somewhat true, that is kind of what prototypes are for, and not finalized, released products. It's like, did they not even play around with their figures and stress test them and stuff like that? If not, then why not, right? But hey, I mean, any waifu figure makers out there, if you need a hand, send them my way. I'd be more than happy to take a look at them for you. Anyway, how does this relate to Red Hood? Well, Red Hood is by the same sculptor, Shenfei or Shinigami, and also by Good Smile Arts Shanghai, so she will likely be very, very similar to Modernia. But isn't that a bad thing given the quality control and price? Well, I guess yes and no. Firstly, I'd say Modernia looks quite similar to her promo pics, so we should expect the same from Red Hood, so if you like how she looks, that's a good thing. Of course, hopefully there are improvements on build quality and consistency. I think Red Hood will likely be a little bit more flexible in articulation due to the lack of any hindrance at the front of the leg. You could say she has a somewhat more simple and straightforward design as well, so it should be easier to not mess anything up. The thigh cut will break up the design on the right leg when rotated a little bit, which I guess is not too big of an issue, but it is worth mentioning. Her weapon is also a little bit more simplistic, I guess, like you can't articulate a rifle, right? So it should be a little bit more sturdy. Red Hood also has a whole torso swap, which means that they should make it so that her head can be pulled off with relative ease, as well as be sturdy enough for frequent swaps. Because if you give us the option, then you should design the figure in a way which allows for its intended use and purpose, right? I'm going to be optimistic for now, but I guess if they don't even consider that and retain a super small and thin, fragile neck joint, then I don't really know what to say. So, with that said, will you be grabbing Hyper Body Red Hood? Will you wait for the Homoxian Model Kit Red Hood instead? You know I'll be grabbing most if not all the articulated Nikke figures, so if you need a review, you know where to find them. if Hobby Link Japan makes sense for you, do consider using or bookmarking my affiliate links. I really do appreciate it, and thank you to those who have ordered using my links before. Anyway, look forward to Figma Alice and Snail Shell Modernia reviews. Of course, here is more figure stuff. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.